Tell you what, man, when we did that, I think it was the last time you fought,
Right.
when Ado fought, most recent time.
Yeah.
It was
He
January
was
27th.
Yeah, he was pissed off because he trained so fucking hard, came all the way out from Michigan,
Dude blew his knee
and
out.
blew his fucking knee
Price.
out, and he was like, I just want somebody that has the same kind of dedication that I do to put on the same kind of show that I wanted to put on.
Right.
And then he gets the Ben Mees fight.
Which Ben's tough.
And right, Ben was supposed. Yeah, he's supposed to be really tough. I mean, hell, he boxed at the last boxing
he
match.
He won, didn't
Yeah, he
beat the
won.
strong style guy.
And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Ado comes back in and then takes him out within the
he?
first round. But he's hungry though. Ado comes out here and does his
tough.
he does his
tough,
job
man.
good.
He's a good fighter. So.
But he trains at the gym with the guy that I fought last, so he trains at a good gym.
Right.
He's a tough guy, man. And that's what Ben asked me about that fight, and I told him about it. And it's like, dude, he'll strike, but he'll wrestle if he feels like he has to. Actually, that dude was a college wrestler, even I think.
Yeah, I think when we pulled up all the information on him, he had a state.
I have no idea. As far as Michael Ato's concern goes, I could not tell you if he was a state wrestler, a state champion wrestler. The amount of information that we pulled from countless fighters, it's hard to even remember at this point who did what.
Right.
To be honest,
All I know is that his pre-fight interview and his post-fight interview was the most. I don't know if it's just the way he is, but he's just very straightforward.
Yeah.
I mean, he is cut and dry. That's it. And I didn't know how to get any more information out of him. I'm trying to feed him something,
He was
and I'm
pretty,
getting nothing back.
he was pretty talkative last night. I got a chance to talk to him a little bit.
So then maybe it was just because of his.
He just didn't fucking like
Yeah,
me.
he was just upset because he fought.
Why do you
and
got to be
lost
that way?
or
Why,
won that way.
people love me. Everybody loves me.
Okay.
Don't you roll your fucking eyes over there.
Anyway,
You know what?
welcome
Hold
to welcome to Rubber City Throwdown,
Put your damn laptop back up.
the official Voices of Honor Fighting Championship. Today we've got Big Sexy James Neff, and we've got Andrew Law. What's going on, guys?
Hey, what's up, man?
So you guys drove all the way from New Philly, Ohio, just to come up here and bullshit with us.
And hang out.
Thank you
yeah.
guys so much for this. I mean,
Oh,
honestly,
thanks
it's
for
a,
Thanks for having me.
it's a great honor to have you guys on here. I mean, you guys are great fighters.
Hey, you're all right.
Right, yeah.
You know what? Shut your.
Stop it. Why do you don't need to fucking look at me.
I wasn't trying to look at you at that point.
I'm not supposed to curse, but Dave Myers didn't put up any money for this upcoming show, so I don't give a shit.
Really? You're gonna burn. and real.
Stop hitting the goddamn table.
That wasn't my mic. It was that mic.
I don't care. It's picking it up. It's picking it up.
I can't help it. I get very passionate about my stuff.
Anyway, we're gonna talk a little bit. Little Cage Thunder 3 results. James had just fought last night. Unfortunately, it didn't go your way. Shit happens, man. You fought Jordan Beverly, who is predominantly a wrestler. You expect him to come out and wrestle, and you weren't expecting him to throw, and he came out throwing, man.
Yeah, got my head. I don't know. He threw his body kicks right off the rip. That was not the exact opposite. I thought he was going to try and grapple with me, and then he threw a couple hooks. I blocked him, and he caught me with an uppercut and put me right to bed. That's
Right.
the whole fight right there.
Yes, in a nutshell. There's a couple leg kicks, a couple punches, one uppercut, and then
Yeah.
that was about it.
Put me
Now,
to bed. He's saying you a night story.
No.
Give me this.
Let me see it.
You've got your damn computer.
I don't have the results.
Oh.
Dick. Anyway, a couple of the guys that fought Austin, the Looney Tune, and Christian Wentz Harris. Austin ended up winning that by unanimous decision. That was a pretty good fight. That was actually like the first fight. The one thing that surprised me the most about this card, because there was originally 12 fights for this card. 3 of them got canceled, and that's always expected, which is why most matchmakers are trying to match a card for like 16, 17 fights, because you expect at least 2, maybe 3 to get canceled in an event. I mean, hell, the last Honor event, there was like 3 fights that got canceled.
4.
Was it 4?
was
4
4.
fights. So you expect these fights to get canceled. And it's no secret that, Scott Corbin had an issue matching this card because it came so close to the Honor Fighting Championship 4 card, but with that being a week of each other. So you had one guy that wanted to fight on the 21st, and his opponent, the guy that you're trying to match him up with, wanted to fight on the 28th. So unfortunately, this event only had 9 fights on the card. But I will say this, those 9 fights were very entertaining, and these guys definitely put on a show and salvaged what could have been a disastrous
Promotion?
event. Not a promotion, just an event, because, I mean, the K-Showdown 2 was awesome.
Well, what I meant by promotion is instead of calling it an event, I call it each promotion being a separate entity of its own.
Right.
So that's what I meant by that.
But I mean, the first fight right out of the gate with Austin Toon and Christian Wentz is a 3-round war, 3-round battle.
Right, they fought.
And Austin ended up taking that one by unanimous decision. And we've got all the fights on the podcast page, so anybody who
Didn't get to go
wasn't
out.
there, if you weren't one of the 50 people in the crowd.
For the 3-hour fight. Yeah.
I mean, that was another thing that Norm was making a good point of, is that, coming from an honor standpoint and then going over to the Tadmor Shrine and seeing how little of people was there.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out, is it the promotion that's having the issue, or if it was just the fact that, the fighters, weren't bringing in enough people.
Well, first and foremost, it's not a pro-am. Pros tend to bring on a lot more audience, viewer base. They sell more tickets. And if you look at the honor cards from day one, when they had their first event back in October, I mean, look who they had main event was like Isaiah Chapman.
Right, they
And
stacked the whole
it's
card.
that's every single event has been a stacked card.
That's true.
I mean, hell, even this one, the one that they're having trouble matching
Right.
next, and that's coming up on this upcoming Saturday.
Reaching
the main
the
event
summit.
is Josh Roller versus John DeJesus, which is going to be a hell of a fight.
Epic
Right.
fight,
So they're bringing in like the area's top fighters.
By the way, are you guys going to come out?
I'm planning on being
Yeah,
there.
I'll
We got
be
a
there.
guy from Victory fighting, so
Okay.
Who's fighting?
Garrett Davidson.
Oh, Garrett. Okay.
Yeah, he's-
Again, it's trying to get the card pulled up is a pain in the ass.
I don't
because-
even think they have it completely definitive
I don't
yet.
think they do either.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, you could pull up a little bit. Like if you go to Fighter Ticks,
Yeah,
you
they've
could
got-
actually pull up what they have thus far. I mean, hell, I know there's a guy they're bringing in from Wisconsin. They got a guy from. It's actually fun. I can't wait to talk to this kid. I think his name is like Chris Mills or Chris Miles. Chris Miles, I think. He's from Huntington, West Virginia.
Really?
I went to Huntington High School,
Nice.
and I lived in Huntington for a few years before.
These guys went to every high school in the Eastern Seaboard.
definitely.
Oh, he's a tough man
Definitely.
guy. He's one of those old tough man
Yeah.
fights. Yeah,
Well, West
I've seen him.
Virginia is really notable, reputable for doing tough mans. That's where I saw my first tough man when I was like
I was with Dave.
13, 14 years old. That's when I ultimately decided that I wanted to be a fighter. I was at that tough man at the Civic Center in Huntington, West Virginia. And I told him, I said, hey, how old do you have to be to do this? And he said 18. I said, I'm going to do my first tough man when I turn 18. And sure as shit, March 18th year, I did my first tough man. I think it was April. It was like end of April.
It was April.
I did my first tough man.
Because I wasn't able to
was
be
hooked.
there.
I was hooked after that. That following year, I had my first MMA match, 2007.
When was your first MMA fight?
February 17th, 2007.
2007.
At the
Nice.
Chaparrals, yeah.
Nice. So that was a long time.
That was
thought
that was
they,
when the Chaparrals was over off of Old Wilbeth.
No, it was still in the same spot.
Really?
Yep, same spot.
I didn't know they moved that far back.
I fought 0
Maybe it
and
was
2 at the
99.
time. 0 and 3. I think it was 0 and 3, 0 and 2. Shad Conley. And I was supposed to be his stepping stone. I was supposed to be his first win. And I beat him. I knocked him out in 53 seconds or
Damn
something like
right,
that.
yeah.
Hit the backflip. Fucking, it was
Did
like
the
it was like the
jackhammer.
dab. It was like back then. It was like 10 years. Like I was just dabbing on him at that point. I just hit the fat man backflip, and
Which is the only thing left on YouTube of his fights. That was it.
Backflip.
The only thing left was
Well,
the
I mean-
NAAFS Fat Man backflip.
no, I mean I get my fights on. mean, obviously you see the whole fight, and then at the end you see the back flip. But I mean, no, that's
saying
what I
that.
was known for, man. I wasn't known for my power. I wasn't known for my wrestling.
Now, that was
Honestly,
the first one.
I was told that I was an inexperienced brawler. Many people who have seen me fight, I never had a style. You're just an inexperienced brawler. I was a tough man fighter that transitioned over to MMA, who just so happened to do a party trick. You know, a guy who was 265 able to do a backflip, easily do a backflip, and
Although it sounded like
so
it was hard.
I'm just saying, like,
His back, the balls of his feet hit the
just to
ground,
give
and all
you,
you
like-
hear is
just to give you an idea, it was just like I knocked him out, and the crowd, oh yay, you knocked him out. I do the backflip, and the crowd roars, stomping their feet like I just won the world title or something like that, dude. Like, that was the difference, and that's why it stuck.
So now, James, what you need to do
He's
is
got
a
the
backflip.
He's
I
got
got
the
the
sexy
cartwheel.
cartwheel.
Oh, you got the card?
Yeah.
I didn't even say.
I didn't win last night. Or
Was
something.
it? That was Coshocton when you fought, right? You
Yeah.
Pulled the cartwheel out.
Yeah,
and
I pulled the
everybody
cartwheel
loved it. That was the debut of the cartwheel.
No, I did it one time before that.
Got it.
Yeah, I mean, now you just got to do the sexy cartwheel into a sexy round, a cartwheel into a round off, into a sexy back.
You don't have enough octagon for that.
A sexy tumble.
That sounds like a sexy broken legs. What that sounds like.
Hey man, listen, I was 320 and I was still able to do the backflip. That's where I first showed it off when I was over 320, and that's when the fight team that I was with, Rising Phoenix, they were like, you got to do that if you win, and I was like, oh okay, yeah, I'll do it. So that
we
just
came
became
up-
the thing, and I lost like 66 pounds in like 7 weeks for that fight.
Then it was
And
a conversation back in the day when we all used to hang out on the front porch of my cousin's house, where Norm finally told us about the jackhammer being his nickname. And we said, now you just got to be out there after you do the backflip and do the actual motions of the jackhammer.
And I did that once. And
Yeah.
I didn't, and I didn't like it. You know, I was like, and I was like,
Wasn't your
yeah, this
thing.
kind of this looks stupid. This looks really stupid. Why am I doing this? So,
So it wasn't my idea. It was my cousin Paul's idea. So
right. And I did it once. Hey, you got to try it. You know, I mean, you know how many times I thought like, oh man, you know, like, I don't want to do this backflip because what if I, you know, my arms are tired, I'm tired. In
that would've been
general. What if I
hilarious.
just eat
Like a
shit?
half backflip.
Like I just, I
forehead.
I hit the
looks like a
round.
domino effect.
I hit the round and I just face plant in, man. Like it'd be so embarrassing. And it's funny because like you have that running through your head. And then my last fight after I won, I did it. And I almost, like I hit it and my arms, like my face was like 4 inches from the ground. And I just had enough energy to push up to give me what I needed to get on my feet. And it came so close that when I landed on my feet, I actually fell forward and had to catch myself. So I was like, oh shit, I almost ate shit on this backflip. And but I was like 220 back then too. You know,
Yeah.
I was actually lighter. I ain't gonna be doing no backflips anymore, man. My back's so messed up. I don't even know if I could. I'd
We're gonna let the
probably,
age get into it now.
I mean, I'd probably hit the backflip and then just die afterwards, dude. I hyperextend my back, re-break all
Telling
the
the
lower
eulogy.
lumbar that I had.
Telling the eulogy. What happened to Norm? Well, see, what had happened was that he did a great fight, guys, but he had a heart attack mid-flip. And mid-flip, heart attack, ate ass, and then
There's
just-
no way in hell that I would hit the backflip without practicing it first. Like I'd have to be in the gym. I'd have to like get in your guys' mats. You know, have a good amount of space. You know, before trying that shit.
You have to do
there's-
it after you train too, so you know you can do it when you're tired.
Yeah, right. That's, but,
See, look out. Look, Andrew's going to get you right up there.
Flipping,
He's
man.
gonna,
You'll be flipping again in no time.
yeah, I have so many injuries right now. I'm so like I got like old man injuries right now. I'm only 30. That's what pisses me off. The old man injuries. I wake up every morning, one teardrop falls off my face, and then I start my day. I stretch out
After he
this arthritis
sips-
in my body.
After he sips 2 bottles of Insure.
I can't take any anti-inflammatories because of my surgery because I'll get ulcers. So I'm stuck with like Tylenol, which doesn't do shit. So
Right.
now I'm on like Gabapentin, which is a nerve blocker, so I can actually function. Because what was happening was I was going to the gym, I was exercising hard for like 2 or 3 days, and then I throw my back out, and I was out for a week. And then I'd go in for a couple days, throw my back out.
You better
rest
watch
for a
out.
week.
Our next promoter.
So now, like, I had to get on a nerve blocker just so, and it's quite literally saved my life.
Right.
It's the only reason why I'm able to train how I train now. because I train my ass off now.
All
man.
seriousness aside, you're starting to get our next sponsor to be Cialis.
Like, see how
I'm just telling you right now.
AARP and shit. And, oh, icy hot something, man. Like it's.
Ben Gay brought to you by.
But getting back on this card, like I said, these fighters definitely salvaged this event, and with only 9 fights, man. And like I said, it started off, with a 3-round war with Austin Toon and Christian Wentz, and then right in and a Carson Mills and Justin Griffin, which Mills ended up taking that by rear naked choke in the second round. So, whereas most amateur fights you expect to only last, for 1 round or maybe like a couple minutes into the first round or some shit, because it's amateur. What do you,
12 seconds.
I knew you were gonna say something like 12 seconds.
Yeah.
It's all right, but it was
the
the
shortest
best.
fights of the night are the main event and co-main event.
Dude, it usually works that way.
I don't know. I mean, Dom Johns and Mike Siebert's fight only lasted like
Dom hits like a truck.
Yeah.
30 seconds.
Everybody from that gym hits with ridiculous power.
Yeah, I mean, and Mike was We'll get to that. I know Mike was. He didn't even train for this fight.
Yeah,
dude.
he
I
was
mean,
like
the
3
first
weight
time.
classes up.
Yeah, the first time that we covered Mike, I was telling Matt. The first time we covered Mike was RFO in March.
It was our
last
first one.
year. It
Yeah.
was like our first one. He was like 170.
Yeah.
Now he's like 220 something. So I had
He's
to bust
fought
his
as low as
balls.
55,
Yeah, he's fought
too.
55.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he thought he had it was a catch weight at 160, but yeah, it was originally he was cutting down to 55. In that fight, he had a hard time because of he had to cut 20 pounds like a couple days before, and it ended up he ended up doing you do damage to your heart, man. Your heart starts pumping out that motor oil. You're basically dehydrated, and you're dehydrated for too long. And I used to do that shit. I did that shit one time for wrestling, and I thought I was gonna die after my wrestling match, man. I was like, seriously, my heart was pumping motor oil, and I was like, there's nothing you can do for it. You can't just drink water and it just get better instantly. There's nothing you can do. You're basically screwed for the entire day.
I just drink Pilot coffee and it's all right.
I don't even think like Pedialyte can fucking fix
man.
that shit. Like you're done. You're out of commission. So you do that shit for a fight. Yeah, that 3-minute round is gonna feel
You're
like
screwed. Yeah, you
a
kill
lifetime.
yourself.
So and I think that's what happened. That guy that died up at Hard Rock. I think it was a 205er. He was making that weight cut. He died after that match. They rushed him to the hospital, and his heart just gave out.
I remember that.
And then people try to say that it's because of the sport, it's because of the fight, and it's like no, it's the weight cut that will get you that'll do the most damage.
It's
to
that
you.
dedication to your weight cut.
Well, it's weight cutting the wrong way.
That's what I'm talking
you do
about,
Some
is
dumb
that-
shit like dehydrate yourself for multiple days. You starve yourself for multiple days. I mean, there's a way to do it, and there's a
I
right
don't
way and a
know.
wrong way.
I still say that atom weight for the 2 ladies that we did, one of them just looked like they were getting ready to go. I can't remember which one.
Kayla,
it was. Kayla,
yeah,
was it
Kayla cut because she cut like 20 pounds, and
She
some of that
cuts-
was muscle,
yeah.
but she was
She's a
still in good
tank.
shape.
She's a tank.
Yeah, like she was still in a hell of a shape. I mean, those girls and the atomweights, they fight at atomweight because they naturally walk around at like 120, 115, so
Right.
they can cut to that. I mean, the lighter you get, the harder it is to make that weight cut. And I mean, shit, like James, he could probably cut like 30 pounds in like 3 days by dehydrating himself. It didn't want to do shit
It's
to
one
him.
good shit for him.
Right.
Yeah,
But
I don't cut weight. I refuse to.
No, there's a funny story about cutting weight with Norm. So we were getting ready to. He and I had this bright idea that we were going to go and enlist, and we were going to try and enlist into the Army National Guard. This was like a little bit before he actually enlisted into the Army, and so we start cutting weight and everything. We go back down for reways, and
keep going.
I'm waiting for.
Nothing to see here. Just talk.
So we finally cut weight and we go back down there. We go and weigh in at the Canton National Guard Center. We finally get it done and over with. They say, "Yeah, you guys are good. All we need to do is get your ASVABs taken care of, and we'll get you right in." So as soon as we leave the National Guard, we immediately hit the first McDonald's on the way in. He grabs a 50-piece McNugget and 2 fucking Big Macs.
Done, man. Took me right back to wrestling days, man. Going to the wrestling tournament, mom grabs me a 20-piece.
50-piece McNugget. That's back when the 50-piece didn't come in 5 fucking containers. It came in 2. Just 25 pieces.
Oh, so when I lived in West Virginia, it came in a bucket, man. Like a KFC
Yeah, the little-
type
the-
bucket. It was,
yeah.
it was a family size, and it was all me, baby.
Yeah, quote unquote fan.
You
Right.
ate 50 pieces. You ate a 50-piece nugget by yourself?
Oh, that
Dude,
was
we used to
nothing
do
compared
it.
to what I
We used to
eat.
do it constantly,
Holy
man.
shit.
Yeah, man.
We
I
polished
had,
off-
I think the most I've ever eaten was 86 or something like that chicken nuggets in one sitting before I finally got sick. But yeah, there's a reason why I was almost 400 pounds, man.
Not only
I-
that,
I-
we used to have competitions about how many tacos we could eat. So you
Yeah,
know those grande
taco-
meals at Taco Bell that used to come with fucking
20.
Like 12
20? Yeah,
tacos,
20
yeah.
tacos. We would buy 3 of them and see who could eat the most. And we would polish off out what, 40? I think that was
Yeah, I mean, when me and my wife, when we first got married, we were living off post in Clarksville, Tennessee, right outside Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and she was like, "Hey, we're gonna do taco night." I'm like, oh, "Okay, cool," and she made just enough taco meat for like 2 tacos, and I was like, listen, if we're going to be married, you have to understand something. This isn't a 2 taco household. You need to make like a couple pounds. It is. I mean, now I can't eat tacos. It's really depressing. It's probably one of the only things I actually regret.
No,
the things
it's
that I
pizza.
regret from the surgery are
It's
the
pizza.
things that made me the way that I was pre-op. You know what I'm saying? Like, people ask me, do you regret it? Do you regret it? I'm like, yeah, I regret going to, the Golden Corral and clearing out their entire buffet. I do. I miss that shit. There's food that I'll eat, that I'll see. Man, I was just at the gas station, and those little donut packages. Now they've got like double mint chocolate, double stuffed chocolate shit. I'm like, where the hell did this come from? When did this start? They got all these.
why? Why now?
I'm serious, man. They got like 79-cent sausage biscuits at BK now, and I'm like, this is why I was fat, man.
That's a true story. That's actually a true story. We were driving past a Burger King on 91, coming up here, and he goes, "See that, Matt? That's why. That's why right there. I hate my life because 79-cent biscuits and gravy. That's why." It's just
not
big
like-
on the screen.
And that's why I chose not to get the gastric bypass, was because I know I would have had dumping syndrome, and I probably would have shit myself on a daily basis. But that's why I chose to get the sleeve gastrectomy, because with the gastric bypass, they don't cut your stomach; they just reroute your shit to
Directly
to
from your
go.
esophagus to your
Yeah,
asshole.
so
That's
all
pretty
the
much
fat
it.
You eating shit.
will go this way and come out the other end pretty quickly, and then you end up having dumping syndrome. Whereas the sleeve gastrectomy, I still absorb, so I can still absorb fat and grease and all that bullshit. I just can't eat a lot of it. So if I try to put down like a Whopper, I haven't eaten bread since June of last year. I have less than 30 carbs a day, every day.
Okay, Norm, we're depressing these guys now. They're talking. You're,
I'm just saying, man. This is this is.
I cut out bread for like a week and wanted to cry. So I love bread.
I think
wanted to cry.
June 5th was my last hurrah, because June 6th I started my 2-week Opti fast.
oh my God,
And,
we had so much food here.
Yeah, my
We
wife's
had-
like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Burger King, order Papa John's."
Oh, we
I'm
had
serious,
pizza. We had. Oh no, we had Mexican from Uncle Tito's.
Yeah, Uncle Tito's right behind the house.
Oh
Chinese
my God,
food.
we had
man.
so much food here.
I
I rolled out of
buffet,
here.
to be honest with you, but
I rolled, literally. My fiance had to stuff me out the door and back into the car. I almost had to use a trunk.
no, there's a reason why I was that big, man. But I could put down some food, dude. It's
Those were the best days of my
I was
life.
able to, easily, like we were spending, just to give you an idea of how bad I ate, and this will put it completely into
Well,
context
don't
for you
have to tell me,
guys.
man, I know.
It's oh no, this is bad. I'm not even going to tell you how much I ate. I'm going to tell you how much I spent. In the month of May of 2017, I spent $900 that month in fast food.
Damn, dude.
That's how bad I ate. Not how much, how bad, how often. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, fucking pizza from Papa John's, Chinese food, Burger King. And I had a food addiction, bad food addiction. And it was fast food. It was, Burger King, the 4-for-4 meals and shit like that. That
that's
was
just
my
for him.
kryptonite, man.
That's
was
not
me.
putting into consideration of his wife.
My wife would order pizza, and I'd be like, "Here, this is my pizza," and then here you go, kids. I had a problem with leftovers.
They would not allow you to be able
If
to
my
touch it.
kids like at a restaurant only ate half their food, I had to finish it. I couldn't see it go to waste. I can never see food go to waste. I had to eat it.
That's our parental things. That's
I
just our
just-
family.
So I had already eaten my
They're
meal.
starving people
and
in New Guinea.
My wife wouldn't eat all hers. I eat all hers. My kids wouldn't eat all their chicken strips. I'm eating their chicken strips. You know, I was like, I couldn't. I just ate everybody's food.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just how it was.
And then the reason why I always finished my food before him was so that he couldn't eat my food. So
It's not like I ate it actively while you were eating it. It was just
No,
like,
that way-
don't eat
Pour
it.
it on there.
You don't want
Reaching
them.
over. and
you're
grabbing
not gonna eat that, are you?
Like I'm eating my shit. Oh, it looks good, man. Like it was just if you were done eating.
No, Norm did a great thing. I'm very proud of him.
Well,
He's-
it saved my life. I had 6 months to live.
Yeah.
Basically, my triglyceride levels were so bad. My
He actually hospitalized
having
himself.
yeah, I had my diabetes. I was actively walking around on medicine at like 350 plus blood sugar. They were worried about like permanent liver damage.
His glycol levels were
I was
constantly so high.
9.1 like A1C1 or some shit like that, and triglyceride levels. You're a healthy triglyceride levels was like under 180. Mine was over 3,000. I was 29 years old, and I already had hernia surgery. I had an abdominal split. You could take 3 fingers and put it into my stomach from the gap.
I was
It
actually
was-
active on the internet looking for coffins for him.
It
It was
like,
bad. And I was trying to find out which one would
I
handle
was
the weight.
I was really like when I found out I was diabetic, my blood sugar was 700, and they were like, I don't know how you're not in a coma right now, and it was really bad. I never wanted to go to the hospital. I never wanted to do anything for myself. I also have post-traumatic stress disorder and everything like that too. I had a lot of mental problems, and a lot of it was also weight induced. It was lack of confidence. It was no energy, no motivation to do shit. I still, if anything, if I regret anything from that time, was like I literally wasted 4 years of my life.
Yeah.
When I got out of the army, I should have immediately got back into training.
Right.
Immediately got back in the cage. I was already low. I
actually-
was already about what I weigh now. I could have cut. I could have trained. I was in shape. I was fresh out. That's what I should have done.
Yeah.
But my pride was so hurt getting out. I wasn't properly reintegrated back into society, into civilization. It was definitely a bad time for me.
I was headed that same way, man. Right out of when I quit training at Mises, I went from 335 to 390, 380 when I first got back to Victory. So I know how that is, man. Eating.
I do have a good question. Norm touched base on PTSD. Now, as fighters, is there anything like that could possibly happen to you guys? Do you guys have any kind of like fear or anything that could possibly? I just like to get in the brain of the fighter. So, is there anything of that kind of association that you guys battle with as a training, or previously coming out of a fight or going into a fight?
I don't have anything like that.
I don't know so much like PTSD as much as like the brain injuries that occur while you're fighting can bring about that kind of stuff, like TBIs and everything like that.
Right. So the TBIs pretty much is the basics of what you're getting at, is the
Yeah.
closest thing that you could think of.
That's what I would say. Like as far as like long term like stuff that can happen to you and affect your life, I'd say the brain injuries are probably the most significant thing. Which that's what you get with people in the service and stuff too.
Right.
Is they end up with TBIs and all that, and
Right.
it's all related because it's all in your brain,
Right. Right. I was just, it was just one of those fleeting moments that
There's
I
also
just,
too
I came
like
up to.
a lot of fighters have to see like sports therapists, and some people like my whole theory, my philosophy on it, I guess, is like I always think that as an amateur, the guys who run like an undefeated amateur career are always the first ones to fail. I always think that, like, I'm not just using an example, Isaiah Chapman, just because I went to school with Isaiah, we wrestled on the same team together. He's only a couple years younger than me, and we trained for the same team for a long time, and I'm really close with Chapman. I think the best thing for him was losing that one fight as an amateur because he was 12-1.
Right.
If he would have, went undefeated as an amateur and then he won like the first like 3 or 4 of his pro fights, when he finally took that L, that could have been detrimental to his mentality. And a lot of fighters, have that issue where like
They
you
don't
just
know how to lose.
exactly you
That's
don't know how to
actually-
lose.
We were talking about that on the way up here. It's
Yeah.
like a lot of fighters that weren't like wrestlers or don't have like a martial arts background where they grew up competing. They don't necessarily know how to handle losing as well as some like Sexy wrestled, I wrestled, I done judo, so we've lost a couple hundred times,
Yeah.
So it's nothing new. It's just how the coin landed that night. But then the people that just fight MMA, they're not so familiar with losing, so they win a couple fights and are feeling all big and bad, and then all of a sudden they lose one, and they can't handle losing because
It breaks them
the first time
mentally.
this happened. Yeah,
Right.
You start questioning your training. You start questioning yourself. Maybe you're not as good as you thought you were. And that happened to me one time, and it was complete. Like I beat my last fight, beat the hell out of this guy. I put him down in the second round, knockout. So we're at Peronio's, 2010. Like a month later, I went to a kickboxing smoker at Evolve, and I fought some dude from Griffinroll. 3 1-minute rounds, nothing crazy. I think we wore headgear or some shit. I don't even remember. And I lost. But what really messed me up mentally was not the loss. It was my striking in my last fight compared to my striking against this guy was completely different. And he was just better than me. And I couldn't figure out how. Why was he better than me? Why was I so dominant in this fight against this guy who was 6'5", 257 pounds, who's longer than the guy that I lost to? Why couldn't I beat this guy up the way that I beat this guy up? What the hell? What's wrong with me? And that's what messed with me more is when you take an L like that, it's not so much the loss that'll get you. It's you start questioning everything about yourself as a fighter and your training. And a lot of guys, I'm not going to mention any names, but a lot of guys will blame the gym that they're in when it's not the gym that they're in. Right. It's you as a competitor. That's the issue. And there's really nothing wrong. Maybe you just fought a guy that was just better than you, and you need to stick with that game plan, or go with a different game plan. Like for instance, your fight, you probably, if you were to fight Jordan 10 times and you were to utilize a different game plan every single fight, there's no way that you get knocked out in 12 seconds. There's no way. Hell, you probably win a majority of those fights if you fought a different way. Hell, if you would have fought Jordan the way you fought George, you probably would have won the fight.
I agree with that too.
I mean, so you have to look at it in many different ways, and as long as you can get over that mentally, you're going to be a dominant fighter. I will always say that the hardest fighters, the most dangerous fighters, are the ones who know how to lose.
Yeah.
So, but let's finish out this card, this Cage Thunder card.
Oh
I
shit! I
realized
thought we
that-
were done with that. That's why I kept going. I'm
Hell
so
no, man,
sorry.
Literally, we're on the third fight.
There's only like 3 more to go.
Yeah, right.
I'm over here thinking that we already finished the card and everything else. We're bullshitting about everything.
No, we'll talk. This one's short. Courtney Price
Courtney's
and
my dude, man. He has
Kevin
some
Ulrich, man.
slick boxing.
I had no idea who this guy was
Courtney?
coming in. Yeah, Courtney coming in.
Yeah.
I had no idea who this guy was, which is probably why the attendance is so low. And then my other point about Cage Thunder and their attendance issues and why compared to Honor, is because these are amateurs and they are all mostly new to the sport
That's
of mixed
how-
martial arts.
Cage Thunder, that's what they're trying. They're not trying
Yeah.
to be Honor. They're trying to be Cage Thunder.
And that's
run
what that's what I
Oh
wanted.
no, I wasn't trying to put
Jarvis-
in.
Well, I'm just saying why the numbers are different.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
you go to Honor and like we were saying earlier, they got pro-ams and they got the bigger names, and that's like the Cage Thunder cards. Those are for the guys that are kind of new, that haven't competed,
Okay.
Trying
haven't.
to
So they're
fought.
more entry level type.
Yeah,
They're trying to
Okay.
build their
Right.
name up.
And like for instance, I would probably, when I finally decide that like I get to a weight class and I want to compete at and I get back in the cage and I get cleared and all that shit, my first fight will probably be with the Cage Thunder. If they're still up and moving at that point, which they
I'm
should
sure
be.
They should be.
But that's just because it's the type of promotion that they are. I'm not just gonna throw myself into the Honor, and
Can I say I hate fighting at the shrine?
I don't like the
I
Padmore
hate the
Shrine
Shrine.
either.
I need to get high-
It's bad juju for everybody.
Yeah.
it's so hot and like I don't know.
There's
it does something
absolutely
to my
nowhere
eyes.
for
I don't know.
everybody to sit.
It just
No.
fucks with me.
Just
Like, and the vantage points that they have, they only have 2 spots in that whole freaking place that you can actually see the whole cage.
Yeah.
It's not their fault. It's just the way that the venue's set up.
Right.
You know, they've got the stage right there where they normally have all the nice tables set up for everybody, and then you just, for us media people, I'm trying to freaking shoot his damn
spot.
boxing thing, and I can't even find a good spot where everybody is not going to be walking right in front of my camera.
Right.
I keep losing at the Shrine too, so you need to stop that.
I've never won at the Shrine either. It's okay.
I've only fought once, and it was the amateur boxing, and I lost by like split decision.
So maybe it is the juju.
It's the Shrine.
You have to
We
be
can
a
blame
Mason
the
to be
Shrine.
able to win.
That's it. That's exactly it.
All my losses except for one are at the Shrine, so
Really?
yeah.
Well, then where was that one?
West Virginia.
Oh, that's just bad juju anyways. You're in the wrong place. You can't even fish in West Virginia.
Oh, West
and bring
Virginia
him back
was
in.
fun. We fought in the same card in West Virginia,
Yeah.
actually. I was the first professional main event fight in West Virginia.
Really?
Yeah.
I was co-main. I got beat up.
I got beat up.
You were the first official co-main event
Yeah.
in West Virginia. Yeah.
That's funny. But Courtney Price, man, that was another short fight, man. He caught him. He caught him with a good right, followed up by another right behind the ear.
That second one was
the
clean.
second one was right behind the ear, and
So
equilibrium
straight,
went
so
bye-bye.
straight too.
Yeah.
Just boom.
and they're actually trying to. I don't remember the second name, but I know that they're trying to get Courtney up against Max Mees next.
Huh?
And stylistically, I mean, Max is a good striker. I've actually sparred with Max a few times, and he's got a real Conor McGregor-ish kind of style of
a
fighting.
tough
He's real
kid,
wide,
man.
and he is tough. He's a hell of a striker. He's fast, and
He's a good
and
grappler,
yeah,
too.
he's a good grappler. So
I think of him to be more of an unpredictable type of striker.
I could see why you'd say that.
I mean,
But
it's
he's not
just
a
because of the way that
traditional
Conor,
boxer, you
yeah,
know?
the way
He's-
that he likes to move around in the cage.
Sexy used to train. Their Taekwondo is their
Yeah, they're
striking.
tight.
So
Yeah.
that would be the kind of unorthodox, weird striking.
but I mean, he left Evolve.
He's at strong
And
style.
he's at
now.
strong style now, so you have to take that in consideration. I'm not trying to say that like, oh, if you go to strong style, you're just better than everybody. Let's face it, strong style has like an A, B, and a C squad.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, that's why I would probably never go to strong style, just because like, if you're not UFC material, they don't want nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
They basically, hey, I want to fight MMA. Oh yeah, what's your record? Or are you new? Or and they just kind of push you over here. You're gonna train with these guys, and it's like, oh, okay, you're not getting that one-on-one. You're not getting that personal. I mean, that's just my look on it. You know,
You got
I
to
mean,
stick it out though to get to the next level.
I guess.
I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying, man. That's like running gyms is probably one of the hardest things.
I guess
to
maybe
do.
like I'm looking at it as a if you were let's say I started fighting with Victory. I started I get back and I'm training with you guys, and I'm like on a 5-fight win streak. I'm like, you know what? There's nothing left at Victory for me. I'm gonna go to strong style, and then I go to strong style, and Drew made a good point about this. You go to strong style, and then they push you off to
You're
the
just
beast.
another
You know,
number,
Yeah.
right?
that's what I mean. Now, if you're just starting out and you go to you start there, then yes, you would
feel
build
that,
up
right.
and you would be with the team and
Well, that's like I think
know.
Strong Style does a lot of invite only stuff though. Like they invite you to be on their fight team.
I'm sorry,
right.
my fiance.
But yeah, that was a hell of a
urgent.
fight,
She sent that as an urgent text message.
man. Well, it's urgent, right?
It's the urgent text message. That's the only reason why my phone went off.
That is urgent. That's important stuff.
But
Then we spent half our time talking about food anyway.
I know exactly. That's what was so funny about it, is that she sends it as an urgent text message. Shrimp chimichangas in case I fall asleep.
And then we got moving into Canyon Tackett and Tyler Feltz, which both guys were making their debut today, or that night, not today. And Tackett ended up winning that round 2 armbar. It was actually came to like the end of the round.
Yeah, it was like 258.
Yeah. And it was a verbal submission. And Tackett, that dude cracked me up. I actually got a picture of him like throwing up after the fight. He ran out of the cage, and apparently it happens to him
That's
like
been a theme
every.
lately too, with people yakking
Dude,
after fights.
every time that when we were at the I think it was Honor 2? No, it was Honor 3.
Jamal.
You're talking-
Yeah,
I was
Jamal
talking about
Moore.
Jamal. Yeah, Jamal did
He-
that. But that was like he had just gone through like 3 rounds of absolute, like, that was a war with Chris Fattig.
You burn your whole gas tank
Yeah,
and then
like-
some, man. That's
like-
exactly.
I mean,
what
I could
you're
only
doing.
imagine what it's like for you guys to make weight finally, and then you guys get done with that, got to go carb up, and then you just got your full stomach. Only 4.5 hours later, you're
go
going in
fight.
there and beating the shit out of each other, and then, well, there it goes. Bye bye.
And speaking of Jamal, how do you guys feel about him taking on Fred Davis?
Fred's tough, dude.
Yeah.
He's tough.
I like Fred,
I mean,
man.
I
Fred's a
talked.
good guy.
I
Fred's-
talked to.
Stone Cold himself.
I talked to
He's
Fred's my boy,
awesome,
man.
man.
I love that guy. And yeah, he hits me up and he goes, "Hey, man, what do you think of Jamal? Was it Lamont, right? Jamal Lamont
McLean.
McLean? And, I just see. his
It's
Facebook
Lamont
tag.
McLean.
Right.
Is it
Whatever.
okay? Oh yeah, it is. It is.
It's Lamont.
Lamont McLean. Okay, Jamal McLean. And I was like, the first thing I said, I even show you my Facebook message. I was like, "Dude's an animal."
Jamal's
First thing that
Yeah,
came out of my mouth
Jamal
when I
is a
talked to him.
beast, man.
And I couldn't figure out why, for the life of me, that Fred would agree. Why they would match him up against Jamal, a weight class up, and why Fred would take the fight.
Because
Title.
Fred's not done.
Title fight.
No, it's well. I mean,
It's a title fight, yeah.
To me, it was a dumb fight.
Well, Fred's been winning too, man.
Yeah,
It'd be different if he was getting beat up, but he's been beating people.
yeah.
You gotta fight the
He's
tough
been
guys.
beating people, but like if they were to
And that was
offer
my
him
whole
a
thing, is that
welterweight,
he's just not done.
If they offer him a title fight at welterweight, then it would make sense to me. But
Yeah.
to jump up to middleweight to take a, but then it made sense. He's in the Masters division. He's not going to get a chance. This is quite
That's it.
literally. He's not
Right.
going to get a chance ever again. And a lot of guys, they'll say, oh yeah, they'll get offered a title fight, and the promoters or the matchmakers will go, "Hey man, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity for you." Hell, that's how they sucked
Yeah,
me into
for
fighting
the-
Stansberry
Stansberry.
for the heavyweight title, because they told me that was, "Hey man, you're probably never going to get a chance like this ever again," and I fell for it, and I ended up paying
You
the
fought Josh.
yeah.
Stansberry.
Yeah.
That's a tough out, man.
Yeah, I had to have reconstructive surgery on
Yeah,
my
that's
lip.
a tough out.
And
Yeah. He
it
lost.
was
He lost
there's
hard.
no way in hell the OAC now would have ever approved of that fight. I was 4-2, he was 10-1. There's no way that they would have approved that fight nowadays for a title fight. Nah,
But he was coming-
But it was a dumb fight.
He
It
was coming
stupid.
in off of a long layoff, right?
No, he
Oh,
wasn't.
that wasn't Stansberry. That was
No, I'm just saying. I was coming off of a win, and he was 10-1. Yeah, obviously, he was like on a
right.
friggin'.
I got your fights.
But
mixed up.
like, yeah, but I looked at that and I go, I speak from experience. You take a dumb fight like this, you're gonna get your ass beat, or you're gonna lose. You're gonna get hurt. That was my big thing. You're gonna get hurt, not necessarily lose. You take the L, but you can get hurt. Now, Fred's jumping up a weight class to take a fight against he's undefeated.
Yeah.
You know, 4-0 now.
Yeah.
I mean, and he fought Chris Fattig, who was undefeated, who was a hell of a fighter too,
Right.
and he came out he didn't just win a questionable decision. He dominated Chris Fattig in that fight. And now you're coming up against like Fred Davis. And like I said, Fred's my boy, and there's nothing. I am not talking shit about him, and I am not saying that he is going to lose this fight. Anybody can win a fight. There's always that right hand. There's always that one right hand. Fred's on a 2-fight win streak. He knocked out at Cage Thunder 2.
It was
Matt Matlock.
Yes.
He knocked out him with the overhand right. Bam, put him out. But then he goes into honor, and he can't finish Roy Nichols. And like I said, nothing against either one of those fighters, and you could definitely see that the gas tank on Fred wasn't up to par. And himself and his coaches both recognized
Oh, man.
in that interview that Fred needed to get his cardio up.
we walked
So-
in. He walks in with both of his trainers, and it was funny because I looked at him. I was like, "Man, you look tired as hell." And both of his trainers looked at me and goes, "Wait, what did you say?"
Say that again.
Say
and
that
then
again?
he said, "You look tired. Look at it. You look tired." I go, "Yeah." See, and it was basically a jab. His coaches were jabbing at Fred. Hey man, you need to take this serious.
Right.
You need to get your conditioning where it's at. And it just, I don't know, just the way that I looked at it, and I was like, man. But then, like I said, I realized that he's 42 years old. He's in the
Yeah.
Masters division. He's not going to get a chance like this ever
Right.
again, man. Like, this is his shot. This is his dream. And I asked Fred too. I said, hey, why are you taking this fight, man? Like, seriously, this is a hard opponent. Why are you? I mean, does it make sense for your career? And then that's when he was like, dude, it's my dream. This is what I want to do. I said, I'm not going to argue that, man.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that you're going to win. I'm not going to say that you're going to lose. Anything can happen in this sport.
I can't wait to find
Just
it.
as a spectator, I just would look at it as like, man, this is going to be a really difficult fight for Fred.
That's how I felt about Cybert and Dom Johns yesterday, man. Which I love Cybert. I love Dom, man. With that, I didn't want to see that fight happen. It went exactly how I kind of thought it would.
And like I said, with Mike, man, like I said, I caught up with him after that fight. He even says, like, I didn't train for this fight at all.
He hasn't been training, period.
Yeah.
It's crazy because Mike's good, man. If he'd train and get down to his weight class.
He didn't have a gym in his area, and the one gym that's 15 miles from his house is where Dom trains at. So
now they can be buds.
Yeah, so I think now that's what he's going to try and do. I think now he's going to try to go there and train there. Chillicothe, right? It's
Coshocton.
Oh, is it? Okay, it's Coshocton. And so I think that's where Mike's going to start trying to train at now.
Those guys are like 45 minutes south of us, still south of Philly, and they're going to start coming to my judo classes where we train judos to get some of that grappling down, because those guys hit hard, man. Every single one of them hit hard. That we were talking about that on the way up. Because Sexy fought somebody from there too, and our dude Mitch fought Dom and submitted him. So they're scary fights.
Yeah, but Mitch took a big right hand.
Mitch ate it.
Yeah.
Well, you saw the difference. You if you look at the fight between those two, like you saw Mike throw that right hand, and you're like, oh man, that was kind of slow,
way different.
And then he immediately got caught with Dom's right hand, and it was like, oh, that was a lot faster and a lot harder. And I mean, it basically, I'm not gonna say that it cracked Mike's chin, but I mean, he was throwing jabs and was wobbling Mike, and I was like, oh shit, dude, like this isn't looking good, you know. And Mike even admitted, he even told me, he was just looking for that one. Mike doesn't ever want to do a 3-round battle. He doesn't want to he doesn't want to go, he's not after the wars.
Finish or be
he's looking for that one punch. Yeah. That's what he wants. He wants the one punch to put him out. He wants to get in and out. That's what he wants.
Yeah.
And so I told him, I said, hey, you need to train like you're going to have a three round war to get the 10-second knockout, man. That's what you need. The 12-second knockout, right?
Yeah.
You know what? We're gonna stop calling it the knockout. We're gonna just call it the 12-second night.
Yeah. 12-second night.
But and then the next fight I want to talk about is the your guys' boy, right? The Gary Lee versus Brogan Andreas.
Brogan Andrus.
Brogan, man, that dude.
He's a monster, dude.
Like I when I was recording this fight, there's the table that was off the left, and
that was Gary Lee's people.
Was it?
I think so.
Because they were no, I don't think so. They it was on the stage.
Okay.
The table on the left on the stage, because they were the whole time they were like, hey, who do you got, red or white, red or blue, and they were like making bets on who was gonna win the whole time. And with that fight, they were like, hey man, one guy's a wrestler, and then we don't know anything about the other guy, and there's one guy's like, hey, take the red corner, you know. And I was like, hey man, you know, the red corner, Brogan was red, right?
Yeah.
I was like, hey, the red corner has apparently been in judo since he's like 6 years old.
He was a national champion. He's a brown belt under us too.
Oh,
he took some time off to wrestle in college, so it's like, even when he wasn't training judo, he was still grappling at a high level. So he'd been doing that for 18 years.
It for a guy who just made his debut, you can definitely tell that he was comfortable. You know, a lot of amateur fighters, man, when they make their cage debut, they get they got them jitters, the adrenaline dump, and then you could see the inexperience. You know, with Brogan, dude, you could definitely tell that he's been doing something. As far as competing for a long time.
His whole family done judo with me and my dad and our family since he was 6. And I'm only a couple years older than him, so we used to travel around the country and fight every single month against people from all over the world, and Brogan did that with me.
And that was all for judo, right?
That was all for judo, yeah. And like
I didn't even know that you traveled around for judo competitions.
We went everywhere. My dad used to take me. I've been to Hawaii, I've been to Colorado, California, down in Florida. I fought Brazilians, Canadians, people from overseas, Olympians, Russians.
Olympians.
I was fighting these people when I was 13, 14, 15 years old. And the crazy part is I was winning most of them, man.
Right.
I mean, it just, wow.
What weight is Brogan?
70, which sucks because that's my weight class.
I was just thinking that too. I was like, man, 70, what I'm trying to get to.
Dude, he's an inch taller than me and a hell of a lot stronger than me. It's scary that he's a welterweight. Because like I said, that's my weight class.
So you're just waiting for that phone call.
When Brogan's a pro, I'm going to be done and I'm going to be a full-time coach.
No, it's I remember the name. So when I eventually get to welterweight,
I'll remember
and I
the
come
name.
back, right? And Scott Corbin goes, "Hey man, we've got this guy.
Brogan.
There's Brogan." Nope, no,
I'm sleeping that day.
not
I don't think I'll make weight.
not taking that fight. No, I don't shy away from the tough fights, man. I love fighting. I don't want to say I love getting beat up, but I definitely love the challenge.
You don't fight just to know you're going to win, man.
Yeah.
You fight to fight.
I was like,
I don't know. I think Norm just likes to get his ass handed to him sometimes.
well, like I've never been knocked out.
So, that's right.
I've had a flash knockout, and that was 280, out of shape. The first tough man I did, and I got caught with an uppercut. My hands, I had them tied up, and I had my head down, my mouth open. I was just sucking in I don't even think it was oxygen at that point, man. And he caught me with the right uppercut.
He was looking for water somewhere.
He broke my jaw on the uppercut, and that only flash knockout, and I was still standing when
So that's what Norm looks for. He's looking for that knockout.
And then that was it. That's the only time that my lights had ever gone out in 9 fights. That's 9 mixed martial arts fights, 3 tough man fights, and 1 amateur boxing match. I've never actually been like lights
Knocked out.
You know,
So that's what he's looking for. He wants to find that one person that can put his ass to the mat.
Call Jordan.
Well, Jordan. Well, that's the thing. I fought guys like Jordan, man. I fought guys, like I said, I'd have Josh Stansbury I'd have my lip put back together from a right straight, and he couldn't even knock me out.
Which one was it that picked
John
you up
Hedges.
and took you across the...
That was Felix.
That was Felix?
But John Hedges, the 2006 national amateur heavyweight champion, he hit me with 182 strikes to the head and to the body. I had a blood hematoma that sealed my eyes shut, and he couldn't knock me out. You know, I have an iron jaw. I have a brick jaw, a brick
That's
chin.
a blessing
dude.
and a curse too.
Yeah.
As you know, because you'll take the damage just because you can.
I'm literally
Right.
like a punching bag. I take so much damage, even in sparring. My weakness is not so much getting hit on the butt and getting hit on the chin. It's getting hit in the head.
Repetitively.
You get my philosophy was or not philosophy. My theory. My theory was with cutting down to a lighter weight class was, I'm a heavyweight, man. Heavyweights could have knocked me out. There ain't no way in hell a 70 or a lightweight's going to knock me out, until I got punched here, right in the temple, by a 45er in sparring with like 12, 16-ounce gloves on. And I was like, oh, shit. I probably will get knocked out at some point by a lighter weight class. Like, you know, and I trained with Russ Halsey.
Nice.
I took an overhand right from him in training. He couldn't put me out. I've been hit hard, and I haven't been knocked out. It's just, like I said, it's
Everybody's got that spot.
yeah.
So.
Eventually, it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I look forward to the day. I just don't look forward to the day that it happens all the time. You know, when you get your
Right.
chin cracked and it just happens all the time. That's kind of like when you know that it's done, man.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of like Chuck Liddell realized that after
Right.
that Rashad Evans fight. He goes, I think I'm done, man. And he took me. I don't know if he took another fight after that or a couple after that. He got out. You know,
Over and over. I'm with you, dude. 25 fights. I've never been knocked out, but I'm waiting,
Yeah.
waiting for it to happen.
That was going to be my next question. How about you? Because we already know that James is taking it and he's walking away with it.
The
But
closest I come was a dirty shot, man. I got hit with an illegal knee, and that I felt that one.
Right.
But it never put me out. I was never unconscious.
Right.
I was incoherent, but not out.
that's why
I couldn't tell you what I was thinking, but I know what I was wanting to do.
Well, that's why I was thinking about switching my nickname up. I kind of kept it on the DL for a little bit, but like my younger years, you know, as the jackhammer, because that's what I was known to get on top of you, grind a pound, and just jackhammer the shit out of you. But now that I'm a little bit older and a little bit more wiser,
Here we go. We're
don't
going back
know
to the
if,
50s again.
Don't know if I want to be the jackhammer anymore, man. I'm trying to get to a different weight class, a different fighter, a different me. So
Maybe
I
the
know
sledgehammer.
That's what I
I'm
was
not gonna be the
thinking.
goddamn
I was
sledgehammer.
thinking sledgehammer, so that's 2 sledgehammers.
I would say
What do you
was,
think
uh,
about the sledgehammer?
I like the
section?
sledgehammer.
No,
the
the
jackhammer is more of a beefier thing, so then you have to drop it down
No,
to
it's-
the
it's-
sledgehammer.
I think sledgehammer. I see like
won't
one
be the
swing, you're
sledgehammer
done.
for one
Right,
reason.
exactly. And Norm's got heavy hands.
Right, the sledgehammer.
So the sledgehammer.
I won't be the sledgehammer for this reason, okay? And it's a stupid reason, but to me, this is why I won't do it. When we were at a recent, I know it was a recent. I think it was
pull out the
Cage
fat
Thunder.
hammer.
No. Cage Thunder 2, I think. No, it was at the Tadmore. I can't remember. Anyway, Walsh,
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu instructor at Aries. He was my instructor at Rock Hard MMA. All right. Now this guy trained me for a while. All right. I see him. First time I seen him in years. Right. Now everybody, whether you know me or not, I mean, they knew, hey man, Jackhammer, what's going on, man, Jackhammer? Eh.
Oh, so
You
when
know,
he came up and said the sledgehammer.
I went, hey, what's up? But hey, Walsh, what's going on? He goes, hey, sledgehammer, and I immediately turned around and walked away because it pissed me off that my coach
Didn't remember you.
didn't
were the
even remember who the
jackhammer.
hell I was.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, the
that
guy
is
trains
why-
so many people, though. You can't really take that to heart.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it to heart.
I don't
give
think
a
my
shit.
coach knows my real name.
Dude, when everybody calls you James, it's like, who
Yeah,
is
who-
James?
Dude, the first time I heard Big Sexy, I'm looking around, I'm going, wait, why? Who are they yelling for? Big Sexy, come here! And then I see James running up there, going, yeah, what do you want?
You should just answer.
I was just like, wait a minute, I thought that was going to be a woman. I was like, wait, where is she, and why is she Big Sexy?
Like I said, there was only one. I only ever knew of one Big Sexy, and that was that was Seth. I think that
McCorkle?
was, Seth Cole, I think.
Oh.
Seth
There's a-
Cole.
There's a UFC fighter, old UFC fighter called Sean McCorkle.
Oh yeah.
McCorkle, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of Google myself. I put Big Sexy in there, and he popped up. I'm like, God,
Yeah, he is
dang
big
it."
sexy.
Yeah,
That was, he fought. Let me see.
Are we finished with the card yet?
No.
No, we're not.
We've taken how many fights was it again?
I think we're at number 5 now. So
Yeah,
we're
we took
over
a
halfway.
9 fight
Yeah.
card, and we've
Anyway.
turned it into almost an hour.
It took longer than the fights took itself.
No, these. Yeah, Seth Cole. That's his name. He was the one that I knew is Seth Cole, 3-1 as an amateur, 263. His only loss was a Stipe.
Nice.
that's a hard fight.
So, and he lost 56 seconds in the first round. So that was the only Big Sexy I had ever known locally. So
Some sloppy seconds.
sloppy seconds, man. Well, I mean, you're still.
I don't know
around.
about
You're still
sloppy,
fighting,
but
man.
just seconds.
His last fight was in 2008, man. His career only lasted like 2 years, if that. That's what it was. Yeah.
I mean,
Two-
Norm,
no,
you could,
1
you
year.
could
He
always
only-
come
yeah,
out
yeah.
as Norman the Martian.
No, I was actually I was actually gonna come out as Ironside because I'm hard to put down. I'm hard to knock out. You know, and I got that from the Bjorn Ironside, Ragnar Lothbrok's son, who was nicknamed Ironside because he was hard to kill in battle. So to me, it made sense. But I had a really strict rule about giving myself nicknames. I don't like it.
No,
when,
you're not allowed. You have to be
gotta
given
be
the
given.
nickname.
and said and Jackhammer was given to me by the ring announcer. My first barroom brawl when Randy Jarvis's promotions, when I sent the guy to the hospital and they had to do an intermission because they didn't have the paramedics on site.
Was
And then
that,
the
was
guy
that
was
at the
like-
Barley House?
No, it was
No?
at Chaparral's, and yeah, the ring announcer was like,
You would think
"Yo,
that it would
next
be at a
time,"
bar,
Yeah.
but it wasn't.
He said, "Oh, I guess Big Norm, because that was Big Norm back then. That was my high school nickname." He goes, "Oh, I guess Big Norm's gonna watch that jackhammer of a right hand next time," and the name just stuck. So I was like, "Oh, cool," you know. And but yeah, I had a big rule against giving myself nicknames, and I always made fun of fighters who would give themselves a nickname.
Right.
Now I'm over here like, yeah, I'm giving myself a new nickname. So
I
I'm
gave
like,
myself
yeah.
Big Sexy, so
Did you? Just-
I got told that I was a Yankee redneck. I don't
I like
know.
it. It's got a little ring to it.
Yeah, right. It was the trucking thing. I was on the radio at a truck stop, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they hear I once I start getting passionate about something, or if I'm in the South for a long enough time, I actually have a Southern drawl.
Nice.
So then, out of nowhere, they asked me, where are you from? I was like, I'm from Ohio. And they're like, you're a freaking Yankee, but you've got a Southern twang, so you're a Yankee redneck. There's your name, Yankee redneck.
That happens to my sister. She's from here. She lives in Georgia. Every time she comes up to visit, she talks like she's from Georgia.
Right. Well, see, my family comes from
Family.
Yeah, my family. We come from a big old farm down there in Southern Ohio.
I was born in Providence, Rhode Island. I moved here when I was 5, so I lost that northern dialect. It comes out every once in a while when I get pissed off.
Right
But
when you're
like,
heated, yeah.
No,
then,
it's either when he's pissed off or he's stuck around his mom and his aunt for so long.
like I still,
Or his
I say
grandma.
aunt. A lot of guys, like you probably say aunt.
Yeah.
I say aunt, and I used to get made fun of for that. Oh, your auntie so proper, and it's an ant. I'm like, is it a big ant or a little ant?
Right.
And
He's got
you
me
say,
onto it now, where it's
coffee,
auntie.
It's always coffee.
coffee.
I don't do the coffee or the
Yeah,
ka. My dad cracks me. My dad's also named Norm, and he'll call me
coffee
all
and the
day.
car.
Like, yeah.
Where's the keys to the car?
Oh, my grandma's
Hey,
hardcore Boston.
Hey, Norman.
That's what she
Hey,
is.
Norman.
Hey Norm, it's your father. That's how it's
It's funny.
awesome.
He actually has a voicemail.
I
that
did.
he
I had
played.
one. I
Hey,
had
Norm, he's
Hey,
your father.
Hey Norm, it's your father.
So the Terminator's calling you?
Yeah. Hey, Norm.
Norm is your father.
How is it? Hey Norm.
I was just calling to find out if you were all right.
Yeah, it does. You can't do it.
I can't do it. I try. I can't. It gets there.
It's
But
your father. I guess I don't know who it is. That always made me laugh, man.
hey, Norm, it's Norm.
Like, you didn't even sound, hey Norm, it's your father, Norm. He used to sign his cards, like birthday cards and shit. He'd send to me, and he would sign it your father. Norm,
Well, if there was
like,
ever a question.
right.
The force is with you, my son.
XO, your father. My dad's he was 27 years in military, and very critical man. I don't have the greatest of relationships with him, unfortunately. But
I would laugh so hard if he sets a comment on our podcast.
He doesn't have a Facebook.
Hey,
He's
Norm,
very
it's your
against
father.
technology. He still is in the, writing letters. Doesn't like to use the phone. No email. I mean, hell, dude, we'd probably have a bomb relationship if he had social media. It just got with the times. He doesn't.
Hey, Norm, I just want to let you know about your podcast. It's your father, by the way.
I think you've outdone the shit northern dialect.
Dude, I'm
at this
still going to
point.
do it. I'm going to do it. It's just because I suck at it.
Oh man.
I got to hone my skills.
Let's finish this card out real quick, man. We got the
Jesus,
Michael Ado versus Ben Mees. Michael Ado, and I'm winning this one, round 1 guillotine choke. We were talking about this one when you guys came in. It was we thought that he had actually put him to sleep, but it looks like he might have tapped, but nobody saw the tap because like when Michael he had the choke and then he stopped and looked at the ref and was just like, hey,
I think he went night-night, guys. I think he went night-night.
No, I don't know if he would say that he went out. Because
That's
he was
what
still
thought.
standing up. Even when we released the choke, he was still standing. He didn't collapse or anything like that. So I think
Yeah, and I think he actually turned around right afterwards, too.
Yeah, I think he tapped, and then I think Michael just was like, "Hey, he tapped," and being a good sport, Ben was just like, I tapped, dude." Like,
Well, that's like, dude, one of my dudes, Nick, he fought and he got standing guillotined and he got put out and he like stiffened up on the side of the cage like Velcro. So he actually stayed standing while he was unconscious from the choke. So that's like, it could have happened. He could have been out.
yeah, man. I mean,
But
he was just. So if you look at the video, though, Ben was like after he released the
Right
choke, Ben was
there.
like, and if he was out, I don't think that he would have. I don't think he went out, came back, and then was like, oh yeah,
Right with it, yeah.
But
Because normally if they're stiffened up, you're going to be able to see the muscles tense up, especially on
it
the
looked
legs.
like he went out. I mean, at first, like when you first saw it, his arms were dangling. I could have, man. I don't know. But
We'll never know until Ben says
Michael
so.
Ado's a good fighter. He's 4-0 now. Ben Mees, he's a hell of a boxer.
Right.
So I mean, I'm sure he's gonna.
Yeah, he won his last one.
Yeah, he's gonna get another fight. He's gonna get back in there. He's gonna do his thing, and and he's training with you guys now, right?
Yeah, he comes to judo and victory. He's got his own.
Has he
gym,
always
too.
been with you guys? I would
No.
say because he was with when we did.
He was with Mies
Yeah.
for the longest time.
It's so hard to keep track of them dudes now, man. They're all over the place.
Some people
I
don't
think he
have
even
like home
said-
gyms, man. Some people bounce around a lot.
I think he said that he was with them until his cousin or
Well, just on like
uncle
the Mees,
left.
you got because you have like what Chuck Mees martial arts, right? And then you would expect all of them
to
to
be
be
related,
with
and
there.
they're not, right?
Yeah, and then now you got Justin Mees, who's not. I don't think he's
not
there.
related at all.
Yeah.
But he trains at
Well, he's
Chuck
with-
Mees.
well, he's
Yeah,
Ben's
yeah,
cousin, right?
yeah. I think they are cousins.
Because I actually asked him. I was like,
Where's your cousin at? Well, yeah, because we couldn't.
well, no, we couldn't. Ben, was it Ben?
No, it was James that wasn't there yet.
No, there's no James.
Or not James. Sorry,
Justin.
Justin
And
wasn't
we went
there
to
yet.
Ben and say, hey, are you related to Justin? And he goes, oh, he's my cousin. And I was like, oh, well, was he on his way?
Yeah,
he's
because
late.
we were trying to get weigh-ins, and then we were doing pre-fights, and then we couldn't get him. So we were like, well, if he's not here yet, and if he's going to be here by the time we get
But
back.
then you got Max Mees, which I don't know if they're related
No.
to.
Max is Chuck.
Chuck's
Meese is
son.
kid.
But he's
Oh,
not
okay.
related to Ben.
So is it Mees or Meese?
Meese.
Meese.
I
And
always
none
say-
of them are related to the Robert Meese, the Cody Garbrandt boxing coach. So,
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
See, that's-
that's
That's
the
nuts,
area.
man.
That's
They're
the
all
area-
in the same county too.
That's the Uville area. That's T County stuff,
They
man.
gotta be related.
yeah, I don't even know, man. But then, yeah, and then we've got, we've already covered the your fight, and then
We didn't cover it yet. I don't think everybody's heard it yet.
I don't know. We got 12 seconds. I'll just mess with you.
Nice.
I'll
Nice.
just,
I like
just,
it.
just
I
mess
like
with you
that
right
one.
now.
I like that one.
But
We got 12 seconds.
wrapping up the main event at Brandenburg, Strong Styles Brandenburg versus AJ Wilkins from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and this was another to me it was unexpected. I didn't think that it was going to end this quick, but it was round one, rear naked choke.
Wilkins
AJ
did good, yeah.
Yeah, Wilkins took the win and actually put Brandon out of the paramedics, or the EMTs were in the cage and making sure that he was all right. And that was Brandenburg's first loss. AJ Wilkins improved his record to 5-1, and he took home the strap. So
My dude Nick fought AJ too, and that's Nick's lost a couple fights. His most salty losses versus AJ.
yeah, well, I mean, look at the people that AJ brought with him, man. Those guys were ruthless, man. They were talking so much shit.
That's that Pittsburgh man.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, man. I thought that guys would come in from Michigan would be like that, just having that rivalry, the Ohio State Michigan rivalry. No, them guys coming
They
in
don't
from
even
here in
care.
Pittsburgh and a rowdy bunch. You see that a lot with Three Elements out of Erie. They do that shit too, and they bring in a large crowd. And I've actually had a run-in with them boys from Three Elements, and one of them still, to this day, still doesn't like me very much. And
There's not many
William
people that do
Ferguson-
anymore, Norm.
William Ferguson hates me, dude. And that's because of the shit that I said about Chuck Lamp after James Braden fight, and
There's no love.
so I mean, it happens,
Is
man.
that the one he got?
Yeah,
poked in
Yeah.
the eye?
It happens,
Yeah,
man.
the illegal eye poke.
But yeah, getting in the honor card though, like
What are you guys thinking about that, by the way? Have you guys gotten a chance to look at the new honor card yet?
I haven't seen much of it, other than I know Josh Roller's on it, which I'm always pumped.
Yeah, we
to
gotta-
watch
let me see,
Roller fight.
Josh-
Leg roller.
starting from the bottom so far, Josh Hoskar versus William Ruby. Rudy. No, it is Ruby. Debut 0-1 versus debut. That's a heavyweight. We got an 0-2 Garrett Davison with the 0-4 Matthew Rhodes. So, and I've never heard of Matthew Rhodes. You got Tyron Reed, who trains with Apex, who's 0-2 against Michael Webb, so who's making his debut. Zach Fisher versus Justin Messer, and I know Messer will show up to this one because I know Fisher's he's coming in from New York. His opponent didn't show up at the last honor fight, so hopefully I know Justin Messer will show up for this fight. And Messer's he's at Evolve right now.
Nice.
So I actually got a chance to check him out. Then you got Alex Price with Don Trell.
Oh, Alex fighting.
Yeah, Alex, he's fighting.
Nice.
He's fighting Don Trell person.
So
I think they just found. I think they just matched that one this week.
I like Alec, man. He's a tough kid.
He's definitely tough. It was a shame what happened when he fought
Yeah.
Mike Gato the last time with his knee. Obviously, it wasn't a tear.
Right.
Because
gonna
he's
get
back at
into
it. Moving on to the next fight after the Alec Price and Don Trell person. Justin Patton, 3-3 bantamweight, and Justin Mees.
Nice.
So I've never seen Justin Patton fight. You guys ever?
No.
He's out of the academy.
So Pittsburgh, Kama Worthy's new gym.
Is it Kama Worthy's?
Well, Kama took it over. It was
Mark Cherico. What
It
happened?
was Cherico. Cherico sold it, or let Kama take over, whatever it was. Because
Why?
Cherico's got twins on the way, so he kind of
Stepped away.
shifted focus. Yeah, Kama's been running it.
And then Tobias Taylor
Nice.
and Carlos Yanez.
That's a good fight
Yanez.
for both of them. man.
Carlos, the one who got me in trouble
Yeah.
with Drew.
Yeah.
The reason why me and Drew went at it for a little bit. And then Eddie Faison, which we saw, dude, he got put down in his last fight, man. That dude that he fought, it was like Eddie Castillo Jr. or some
Yeah.
shit, dude. That guy from Michigan, I think.
Yeah, he was out of Detroit.
Detroit. That dude was big, man. That
Yeah,
dude
no,
was strong. Like, he put Eddie down, and Eddie sat up like
You rang my bell.
holy shit.
I fought Eddie.
Twice.
Yeah, twice.
Which one? Faison or?
Phasing.
Yeah. And then he's going up against a Caleb Raymond, and he's from Demolition Fight Team. I think he's from a different state too. And then Marcus Allen and Branko Busick.
Oh, Bronco.
Bronco.
Busick.
Yeah, grammar's not my strong suit.
You did that guy.
Bronco's
Scary.
a tank.
Yeah.
There's no picture of. Is he from
He
West
fought
Virginia?
Bellator.
No,
His-
did he really?
His first fight pro was in
Oh.
Bellator.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, he's a former West Virginia linebacker.
That's
Like
right. I knew
starting,
something
yeah.
with him in West Virginia. But
You're supposed to know all this, Norm.
When he fought Tyree, he, like destroyed, like killed Tyree in like 12 seconds, like an assassin.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like an assassin.
But this is what the card is as of right now for Honor
It
Fighting
could
Championship.
possibly change.
There's fights. Like I said, there's a guy from Huntington, West Virginia that's supposed to be fighting on this card, and apparently he's fighting a guy from Wisconsin. Unless he's talking about a completely different card, like I don't know, he's doing like Curtis Hall's fight up in like Ashland County or some shit like that. I don't know unless he's fighting for that one, but I'm pretty sure that there's a bunch of other fights that are on this card right now that have not been released publicly yet. So unfortunately, with Fight Week podcast, we don't have all the fights.
And unfortunately, us being the official sponsored by the official,
The official Voices of Honor, we
we get
been left
nothing.
out.
We get the hush hush stuff that's after the hush hush.
No, we get passed over for bluegrass. That's what we get passed over because we're not of relevance yet. Apparently,
Just because Dave been. putting
Look at what I've
work
already
in.
started again.
that's why we.
There's no hostility.
We don't get. No one's selling us this information yet, man. We have to find out. That's my biggest issue. Is like we're always like the last ones to know. And
It's
we're,
right
like,
after our podcast
officially-
is posted. We get the messages. Oh yeah, you didn't know about this? Well, no, because you didn't text
Hey,
us.
I'm actually fighting this guy, and this. It's like
That's why we had so many podcasts that we had to redo. Well, not redo, but
redo. It made us look stupid. Like,
Well,
like when I
that's
didn't
what-
know that James fought out of victory. I didn't know
Right.
that shit. We didn't know anything about any of the fighters, man. And trying
Right.
to get in contact with these guys half the damn time, it was like.
And then we had to turn
pulling
around.
teeth. Braden, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And then we had to make sure that we made it very clear to everybody. I think it was first 3 podcasts that we did. Hey, if we have your information wrong, don't.
I
don't
even bother with it anymore now.
And we got, I think there was 3 of them, 3 guys that decided that they were going to bring shit to it and start saying, well, how do you not know? Because we sent the messages out and you didn't say shit back.
yeah.
So no, we don't know.
But yeah, it's
I mean, Norm spends half of his fucking day on a Saturday trying to get all this information out so that then we have it all ready for us on Sunday because unfortunately I work full time.
there are times 2-3 weeks in advance where I would send out information and nobody would get it to me. So at this point now, like I don't. We're reformatted from last year to this year. I don't take the time.
Just keep it vague.
Yeah, I don't take the time to script.
There's always a
anything.
way around it somehow.
Yeah, I don't script anything anymore. Because last year, and a big reason why it sucked too. A big reason why I think we did so poorly last year. Was
We were a
because-
news crew at that point.
Yeah, we were basically, Rubber City Throwdown radio news crew. We weren't a podcast. It was like we were reading off a piece of paper the whole time.
And in new news,
We had
Going to Matt with the weather.
I'm serious. Like, if I pull out all my old podcasts, but I still have them archived on my computer. Literally, the last video podcast that we did, I had the green screen, and we're literally like, oh yeah, I'll commentate your fight since it's so short.
We've got a fresh card in. We've got 12 seconds.
It's gonna go all day, man. Now, at any time you get offended, let me know. I'm a ball buster.
No, I'm not.
I'm a hard ball buster, but no, it's I'd have the paper in front of me. Oh yeah, so this fight with Jordan Beverly versus James Neff.
He came in.
You know, Neff or Jordan threw two roundhouse kicks, and Neff caught them, and didn't do nothing with it, and then on the second kick that he caught, he released it and threw an overhand left that missed, and then Jordan just followed up, and it was literally scripted. Like,
and then you hear me in the headset going, "Norm, you need to make more eye contact with the camera."
That's how it was. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not putting in 8, 6, 7, 8 hours of time into scripting and writing all this bullshit, trying to get in contact with fighters to fail. So I was like, this is not a podcast. I need to reformat this.
Well, and especially to try and make the initiative to get the info and then get shat on for it.
Yeah,
exactly. And that was the main thing.
And there were so many fighters that, you talked about my.
There's no
Drew
love.
makes fun of me about this, but you talked about my opponent 15 seconds longer than you talked about me. It was an ego thing for a lot of fighters.
It usually is.
And that's what it came down to. And then that's why my other co-host, Chris, he is not, he decided ultimately not to contract back up with us this year because he didn't like the amount of work that we were putting into this for the disrespect that we were getting from fighters. He didn't like the drama. And it's funny because we don't have the drama anymore. We don't have any of that anymore. Actually,
instead we've got more love than we've ever had in our life.
It's fun, and then we don't get, we get paid a small amount just to do what we do at the shows, not necessarily the podcast, but for the
podcast is definitely for you guys.
We don't. This isn't monetized yet. It's not monetized yet.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
We will monetize this at some point, but talks of possibly turning this into a legitimate business. It's in the works, but nothing kind of set in stone. We don't necessarily know if we want to take that step yet, but
when we do.
But no, Andrew, you've been around for a long time, man. What kind of stories you got for us? Got anything interesting? Anything juicy? Even if it's like pertaining to your own personal career, man.
I think the most interesting thing about my career, the one thing that most people want to talk about is when I fractured my skull, when I ended up leaking spinal fluid out of my nose. After
I heard about it, and I know that you had wanted to avoid it in one of the interviews that we did at the.
No, I didn't.
I was told that he didn't necessarily want to get into it. The injury, it was like, I had this injury. I don't want to get into this injury,
right.
And so I never actually knew what happened. I just knew that one of the fights, because I know the fight before your last win was a disqualification win, and I think that's when the injury happened.
That is when the injury
and that's an illegal knee.
Yeah, straight up illegal knee, man.
Like, I didn't see the fight or anything like that, but was it like, you obviously you were grounded?
Yeah.
But were you like up against the cage, hand down? Were you on the ground? Like,
he hit me with a head kick. It was for Scott Hudson, which he was probably the toughest dude that I've still fought to date, man. He's a Muay Thai master. He's a great fighter. And he hit me with a head kick, and it was a tough fight. I was hurt going into the fight. I'm not making an excuse, whatever. Right. He hit me with a head kick. I need to take a break for a second. I got to take a knee. So I literally took a knee, and as soon as I hit the ground, I looked over, and I saw him throwing a knee at me. So I tried to get my hand up, and I was a downed opponent on my knees, and he kneed me in the head, and ended up fracturing my skull. It's called your cribriform plate. It's the barrier between your nose and brain. Mm-hmm. So I woke up the day after the fight, and I had spinal fluid dumping out my nose for 2 days, and then dealt with.
Now, did that make you very, because I know the spinal fluid is detrimental to your equilibrium and to your...
right. That actually, none of it affected my balance or anything like that, which I'm really thankful for. Yeah.
You didn't go to the hospital after the fight?
I went. Well, it was Thanksgiving, man.
He said, you know what? That turkey, and that it's just the tryptophan. It's tryptophan coming out of my nose. I just can't.
Well, I ended up going to the hospital the next day
Right.
after Thanksgiving.
You
'cause it
wake
was
up
still
like,
coming
oh, I'm
out.
dripping, brain fluid, spinal fluid
CFS out of my nose, and
but
I
am not missing this Thanksgiving
Dude,
dinner, man.
You can't
Like,
miss the mashed potatoes. Man.
they've got
we're gonna
cranberry
turn
sauce.
that into like a promotional like poster, like you know, talk about dedication, to the holidays. Let me tell you.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, even if you're leaking spinal fluid out of your nose.
So what kind of did you have surgery or anything like that? To have to...
No, that injury will actually heal itself in about 48 hours. So it's like literally right after I went to the hospital and like, yeah, spinal fluid leaking out of your nose. It should stop by the end of the day.
That's always nice for a doctor to
Yeah,
tell you. You know what?
yeah.
You're leaking a detrimental fluid out of your body that
it
should
sh-
not be coming out, but
But
it'll be
should-
okay
it
in
should
48
stop.
hours.
Yeah, and it did, man. It stopped, and it took a couple months for that fracture to heal and me actually to feel comfortable with getting punched again. But
I mean, I can only imagine on how you would keep your defense up about, especially that particular spot of your face,
right, and keep fighting,
and then keep going, especially when that's the main target area.
Yeah, right. It's hard to be a professional fighter whenever you are susceptible to different kind of facial injuries, man.
Right.
Right.
Now, what's keeping you out of it? Like, what does that injury have done for you at this point? Like obviously your last the upcoming bout that you're supposed to have and that was a title shot.
Right.
You had to pull out of that because of something that was going on with that injury.
Yeah, along with that injury, this is like, when you're a fighter, man, you're a tough guy. You don't like speak up when you're hurt. And I broke my nose and got a concussion training the week before that Scott Hudson fight. So I went into that fight with a freshly broken nose and a mild concussion. Then he ended up nailing me with a straight right hand, which is actually what ended up cracking my skull, fracturing my cribriform plate. And then the knee kind of just was a nasty concussion that ended up lasting 9 months. So I've had like concussion issues, TBI, just like a brain fog, just a weird kind of stupor that follows me around. So I took 14 months off from that fight, and then I came back. I won. It was a great fight.
It was a great win.
My fastest pro win, man. And so like it felt good. Like I overcame it. I accomplished it. I'm ready to go, and I signed for the title fight and get back into the gym, and then training. I ended up getting another concussion, and it took me a couple days to actually realize what was going on, like why. Because what happens is it gets really hard to drive long distances. Like
Right.
I literally can't focus on what I'm doing. I'm driving, and
You forget where you're at.
yeah, and it's like if I stop paying attention and making myself pay attention, I'm gonna hit somebody. I'm gonna
Right.
run into somebody or miss something, and it's scary stuff, man. And I don't know if you guys noticed last night they were talking about the mouth guards.
Yeah.
That the dude from Strong Style was wearing,
Mm-hmm.
and that actually monitors. It's fancy. It's like a $2,300 mouth guard.
Yeah, it's all wired in and everything, and
And
it
it
sends it
tells
wirelessly.
you, it tells you what's happening to your head when you get hit, the direction the punch is going, the amount of damage it's doing, where it's doing damage at, and they're kind of just tracking what's going on with your brain while you're training for fights and in a fight, which I'm a big proponent for it, man. I didn't buy into the concussion stuff and the CTE and all that stuff until I was wearing those shoes and dealing with it, because
Right.
it's a strange injury, man. It's really weird when it's your brain that hurts, because I hurt my arm, but you can fight through that. I hurt
Right.
my
Yeah.
foot, you can fight through that.
But your brain, you got a problem with.
you got to listen to it.
So then, do you think that you're going to have to do any kind of like preventative measures, that you're going to have to go back to the hospital, have them check anything else?
I don't think so, because I became like a concussion expert, because that's when I was sitting out, that's all I did, man, was research what was
Right,
to make sure that I wasn't losing my mind.
Right.
I was researching brain injuries and what it causes to happen, and because it's a chemical imbalance.
Right.
It's an insult to your brain is actually the thing that I saw that kind of resonated the most.
Yeah, your brain's trying to fight something else off and
Yeah,
trying to
man.
numb the pain at the same time that you're trying to focus and
Right.
maintain all the other functions of your body.
So that's like when I started having issues after that sparring session, I decided to take a week off, doing everything, sleep, chill, see if this kind of goes away so I can keep the fight. And that's like, it was a week later and I still wasn't driving. I wasn't able to train. I wasn't feeling good. So I had to make the decision to pull from the fight. And I'm so stoked that I did that, because it's the first time in my pro career that I made like a good decision for myself. Like, I'm hurt and I'm not fighting hurt, because I did
Right.
that versus Scott Hudson. I was hurt. I knew that I shouldn't have been fighting, but I never spoke up. So I
But
went
your
into the
pride got
fight.
to you on that one.
Right. So then I spent 9 months off, man, and it took me 14 months to get another fight. So this time I know what's going on. So if I actually take 2-3 months right now to let myself recover, I'm only going to be out for 2 or 3 months. I'm not going to take a fight and then get hurt worse and then be out for another year instead. So
Right.
Yeah, and see, making a promoter or making a matchmaker happy isn't worth the possible time off
Right,
from an
yeah.
injury, and that's a real, and that's why like I love matchmakers, I love promoters, but I hate them too, man, because they will quite literally talk
Tell
you
you
into
anything.
like, oh man, this is it, this is your last chance, you're our last resort. Oh man, you know, I already sold the fight. People are coming to see you, and it's a guilt trip
They try
because
to
they're
guilt trip
trying
you
to, you
into
know,
fighting.
and especially as an amateur, okay, professional wise, yeah, you're making money. You know, this is how you support your family. I mean, obviously, local professionals. I don't know if you have another job, correct?
Yep.
So, like, yeah, it's you're gonna have another means of financial support other than professional fighting, and at least until you make it to like a larger scale. With amateurs, I'm really, really like against the capitalist side, you know, capitalism side of amateur
They
fighting.
make it like take it or leave it.
Yeah,
man. Like,
and that's the thing.
lasts
It's
for
like
nothing.
oh you got to back out of a fight. Like quick story. When after I had won my last MMA fight, I had won it in convincing fashion, and then I was on my way back down to 205. I was on my way to 205. I was like, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and make this. And Russ Halsey, I don't know if you remember his
remember,
organization, his
yeah.
promotion.
What was it? Extreme.
It was
yeah.
extreme. They offered me to fight some kid. I don't even remember his name because the fight obviously never happened. For the 205 title. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do this. I saw a video on the kid. It would have been a hell of a fight. It would have been interesting. He was a wrestler, good striker. Well, I ended up doing the kickboxing smoker and against that kid from that dude from Griffin Raw, and I broke my ankle.
Nice.
And that's why I don't like kicking because I have short legs. So when I kick, I have to be right up on you. And if I'm not, I always kick with my foot. It always lands on the foot. And a dude checked it, hit his knee, busted my ankle.
dang.
Now it wasn't like a bad break. It was real tiny. I was still able to walk, nothing casted or anything. I was just wrap it real tight, let the swelling go down, and do my thing. Well, 3 weeks before the fight, so I had immediately pulled out of the card. I got so much shit.
Dude, it sucks, doesn't
from them.
it? And 'cause
Like,
how heart wrenching was for you to make that decision to say I
yeah,
can't fight?
and
dude."
it was also a mental thing too. Like mentally, I wasn't there because I took a week
Right.
off, and I said, "Hey, man, I need to get this. See if I can still bounce around and stand." And I finally told my coaches over at Rock Hard, "Hey, man, call him up, cancel the fight,
And
man.
then you
I'm
gotta
not
feel
doing
good
this."
enough to train too.
Yeah.
Like not just feel good. You gotta feel good enough to train to feel good to fight. you
And
know?
they made me feel like shit about not taking the fight, and then like a couple weeks later, yeah, I mean, like I'm walking around and everything, and I made a post on Facebook like, "Hey man, it was a good day. I had played some basketball," and the matchmaker comments on it goes, "Oh, so you could play basketball, but you can't take the fight." And I said, "Hey, dude, there's a difference between me standing there shooting some hoops
Right.
and fucking running and playing a full game of like full court basketball, dude." You know what I'm saying? There's a big difference. It's
We were
not
playing horse.
yeah, I was up there.
We weren't
just
even doing
just
anything.
Shooting foul shots, hanging out with my friends, man. It's not like I was hitting fucking layups and shit, dude. Like, no, I that's what it was. But to him, it was like, oh, you're healthy enough to do this, so why can't you take this fight, make us money? And I got really pissed off about that. And and even to this day, I still don't. I know who. I'm not gonna say his name on air, but like, me and him. Like we could see each other now, and it's like, oh hey, what's up? Long time no see. But we're not friends, man. You know, and it's a damn shame too because he used to be one of my trainers when I trained at Payne headquarters. But
I won't say his name either because we're dudes. We're real good friends now, man. But I've only pulled from a couple fights. This is the second one that I've had to pull from, and then
Right.
I had an injury. I was supposed to fight Julian Lane. It was a great fight for me.
oh, Julian,
Good,
huh?
good fight, man.
Yeah.
Good timing, good everything. And then 2 days before the fight, I was just Dutch drilling, and I caught a kick on my elbow, the right, and it swelled up the size of my fist. I ended up bursitis. So
Yep, I have it in my shoulder.
I
Yeah.
couldn't move my arm. It was so much. I had to pull from the fight. So
Yeah.
I sent a picture of my arm looking like this to the promoter. He's like, "What? You want me to send you a picture of my balls next?" It's like, dude, I'm telling you, I'm hurt, man.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with what you guys are talking about, but I was just recently in a position where when you're on layoff and everything, you get the phone call from your boss and they need you to come in. Well, you better drop whatever the hell you're doing so you can come in for the company. Well, I'm sitting in a courtroom for one of my good friends, and they go, "Oh, don't tell me you're unavailable again." I was like, "Hold on, let me send you a picture." So I sent a picture of the actual courtroom, and he said, "What did you do? Pull that off the internet? What do you want me to? What? I mean, you found the Akron Municipal Courthouse and you took a picture of it. Whoop-de-doo."
Do I have to take a selfie?
Yeah, and that's exactly what I said
judge
to
in it
him.
with
I sent him. I was like, I should have put myself in there and did a selfie.
Should I hold a newspaper?
Ask the cops to handcuff you, like, bro, put these on me. Real quick.
Right?
Get a picture.
Give me the brass ones. Give me the old school ones.
Yeah, definitely. It's and that's like, as now being older. And
I
being
will say
around
really
this sport.
fast, just before we move on, Myers and Honor was really cool about me pulling off, man. Like, I signed the contract. Hey, you're hurt, man. We believe you. I hope you heal up. We'll get you next time. Even the guy, Reggie, the guy I was supposed to fight, man.
Yeah.
I was looking forward. He's got a lot of fights, man.
Yeah, we got so Josh coming. We got a Skype date trying to set up with Mike Siebert and
Nice.
We love our mandates.
Yeah, we the amateur, like a lower rank. I come with the lower ranking amateurs, man. I try to get Skype dates with interviews with those guys, especially if they're
2 hours
out there.
away.
Yeah, they're pretty far out there. So
I mean, I think the only one that we have done that is pretty well known is as a Skype date was probably from shit, huh?
Tim Hughes,
Tim Hughes,
and we did Tristan Constant as
and
well.
we did Tristan.
But Tristan was coming off of a loss, and Tim was like on a two fight win streak. So that was fun. I love Tim.
Out of
Hughes,
Piqua, Ohio.
man. Pick one out of Fightopia. That's good.
They had a really good setup last event.
Yeah,
They only lost
They lost,
one.
yeah, the one dude. They put him up against Mo Miller. Like, what the hell?
Mo's a beast.
Yeah, he is, man. That dude's an animal. But yeah, we'll definitely get you. Yeah, we'll do part 2. We'll definitely get you guys back in here, and
We just had a
part
lot going
2.
on, and unfortunately, we weren't able to dive too much into you.
There's always a lot going on.
Can you go live when you see the midgets next week? By the way.
I can try. I can do my
'cause
best.
I really want to watch it.
Well, you have to go and spend the money and come out.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
But
yeah.
I'm sleeping during that time.
Do you want midgets or do you want to sleep?
I
Do
want midgets and sleep.
Do you want to
It's
see
gonna be-
midgets
You wanna
on
sleep
Norm,
with a
or do you
midget.
want to
It's
sleep?
I mean,
It's gonna
I'm down to
be-
sleep with a midget.
Oh
It's
my
gonna be an
God.
interesting night because
You got a ceiling fan in your room?
I don't know if you guys caught that segment where like I was talking about my phobia
Yeah, I
of
did.
midgets, and
That's why I brought it
it's gonna be interesting because now
He's
I
only
just-
3 inches taller than a legal midget.
I
but-
just found out that we're gonna be interviewing them, so I'm like, great.
This is going to be the best show ever.
So it's actually gonna be kind of funny.
He's going
But,
to share the same stool, so they all look the same.
But if there was ever a point in time like if you wanted to come out to an event, man, I can like get you a shirt made up, and or you
Let's
could
not
just
say this
let-
on the air, Norm.
I'm just I can employ him for Rubber City Throwdown and bring
Actually,
him in
yeah,
to
we could.
work the event.
We could.
He wouldn't have to pay to get in because he's working the event. It's not like, hey man,
Do you need a shirt made
I'll
for
get
this
you,
event?
I'll get you a shirt made and then you can work the event.
Walk around all the
No, like if he came in, he worked the goddamn event with us.
Well, I
can,
mean, he works
you
most
know,
of the honor events too.
And Sexy puts in all the work.
Yeah.
You were working
But,
you were working last event.
No, Jeremy told me to bring some beer in, and they gave me like 3 of the beers. So I wouldn't call that work. That was more,
No, you just need a sign that says "I work for beer." That's all you need.
No, it's
No, we could definitely do something about that if you want to try and get on Rubber City.
And
I'm
Sexy,
down.
you're
What do
always
I do?
working.
But we
fights,
work
man.
before 2:00, so you gonna be around?
sure. I will be if you need me to. Yeah.
But no, it's
We'll
we
see what we can do.
we start the events at about 9 in the morning. That's when we start our work day for an event. And with this event, it's going to be interesting because we're setting up outside. So not only
No, we're setting up inside.
No. Well, not outside.
Yeah,
but
that's the
like,
reason why I'm not doing
We're
the
going to be
tent.
set up. We're actually setting up multiple spots in in the venue.
So we could
because
actually
we got
use
Bug
you.
Naked playing, and we got OCW, and we got the midget wrestling. So we got pre-fight interviews to do in the morning as well. So we're not only we gotta get all the fights, all the pre-fight interviews done. We also have to try to cover like the midget wrestling and the OCW and interview those guys. And it's gonna be.
Do you still have your Rubber City Throwdown shirt from when you were bigger?
I do.
You do?
That one will fit them.
Okay. That way we don't have to try and get our printing shop to try and get something
Yeah,
done.
you could just wear our old logo. Man.
You already got the T-shirt, man.
Yeah, I already
You're
got,
in, sexy.
I'm in.
All right, well then
we'll get you in, man. We'll
I just body slam a midget though. I just want to just.
we can
That's
see
I
what we
wanna
can do.
I wanna,
Dude, Ryan can get you into pro wrestling, man.
Ain't the school expensive though?
I don't know.
$2,000.
Yeah, that's
for
well,
10
that's-
months. It's a 10-month school though,
Yeah, Ryan.
and you're
he teaches us
guaranteed.
that shit too,
You're
man.
guaranteed what two at least two professional cards, which you get paid for.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know what they pay.
50
We didn't
bucks,
get that far into
know-
Jeremy's information
You
on
know,
that.
Brashear, he always tells me every time I see him that he wants to be tag team partners with me. Because
Right.
he used to do it.
Yeah.
He wants to put me through the school.
Well,
and
he
be
was
tag
just
team
at their
partners with me.
Tradition 15 last night, so
Yeah.
he was like an enforcer. But yeah, man. No, we'll talk. I'll let you know what's going on if you decide that you can, because I know you said you'll be sleeping during that time. If you want to, let me know. And I said I'll hook you up with a shirt, and you'll come in and you'll work the event, and we'll get you in there, and you could interact with the little people.
We'll even get you to do a couple of interviews with him.
Yeah, we can get you in there. Big Sexy. What's up, guys? I'm Big Sexy with Rubber City Throwdown. Fuck it, man.
That would be awesome.
That would be cool, man.
We're already going to have JJ, Jeremy's son, doing kind of like kid interviews. Like, we're going to follow him around with the camera, and he's going to walk up to some of the pro fighters like, hey, man, can we get an interview with Rubber City Throwdown? And like, hey,
Which
what's
is
your
funny
favorite
because
color,
the
man?
kid pretty much, I believe he has a major role in the OCW.
It was his idea.
Yeah, it was his baby. He's the one that convinced his dad. As soon as they saw everything,
wrestling.
yeah, he said, "Dad, you're buying it," and so he did.
I think Jeremy's made for that though. If you just look at him, he's
Yeah,
He's a
that's
pro
his
yeah,
thing.
he was made for that.
He's like a larger version of no. Actually,
Promotion is his deal, man.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
All right, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Again, we had Big Sexy, James Neff, and Andrew Law with us today in studio. And again, guys, support your local fighters. Make sure you get on out there and buy your ticket for Honor Fighting Championship 4, located at the Summit County Fairgrounds at 229 East Howell Road in Talmadge, Ohio. That's this upcoming Saturday, April 28th, and you don't want to miss this event. They got 3 events going on with the OCW Ohio Championship Wrestling. We got the midgets coming in town to put on their show, and we got Buck Naked live band, and again, we got the fights. So until next time, guys.